I don't love David. So I don't respect David because he is...
Yes, I love Daniel. Respect would be a different issue.
Do you love and respect your opponent? If yes, why? If no, why?
I don't love David. So I don't respect David because he is intellectually dishonest. He seems to be morally compromised. He seems to be an agent. That's the problem. And in Islam, we are not going to love people who are evil. We are not going to love people who justify a genocide and make jokes about it, who are intellectually dishonest to deceive the masses with cheap propaganda. We don't love people like that.
Yes, I love Daniel. Respect would be a different issue. He said I'm intellectually dishonest. Not to my knowledge. There are times when I'm joking and so on, and I'm not serious, and I'll say all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, it's just like when he falsely accused me of saying all Muslims are ISIS jihadis and so on. That's false, and it's something I would never say because it would be dishonest of me to say. I know that's false. I've known too many Muslims who aren't ISIS jihadis to even think that all Muslims are ISIS jihadis or something like that. As far as one word of compassion for Palestinians, absolutely. The Christians and the Muslims, they are in a terrible, terrible spot where they are being used as pawns by terrorists who use them as human shields. And the terrorists understand, hey, we'll go launch some huge attack on Israel. Israel will retaliate. We'll be hiding safely underground and leave the women and children above ground. To be clear, I wish Israel would be more careful a lot of the time because there is a lot of collateral damage. So I agree. You know, when I see dead kids and so on, I'm like, I wish you would have been. I really, really, really wish you would have been more careful. With that, I understand they're in a really, really bad position over there. But yes, Palestinians, as far as the ones who aren't terrorists and so on, they are in a terrible spot when there are churches bombed and so on, or when people are bombed. If it's some sort of collateral damage or something like that, well, that happens in war. I'm not saying don't be more careful, but that sort of thing. I think a third of the, or was it 2/3? It was either a third. I think it was 2/3. No, it was 2/3. 2/3 of the casualties in World War II were civilian casualties. That's just the reality of war. If you're dropping bombs on people, that sort of thing happens. And to fixate on Israel as the only one when they tend to be, if you look at the statistics, they tend to have a pretty good success rate of being careful when you understand the kind of urban warfare they're dealing with when people are, again, launching an attack, then running and hiding so that civilians actually get killed. In other words, they're at war with a group that wants to maximize civilian casualties. That is a nightmare situation for anyone. But at the end of the day, as far as Palestinians who aren't terrorists and so on, who like to live normal lives, I hope they get to live normal lives. But I'm just convinced that never, ever, ever happens when their leaders are terrorists who are going to keep attacking and waiting for the retaliation because they're maximizing civilian casualties. So that's what I'm going to focus on. As far as Daniel saying I make fun of starving kids and so on, no, I make fun of the situation when there are a bunch of fat people saying, people who are fatter than I am, saying, oh, we're starving and so on. Yes, I will make fun of that because I'm clearly not starving, and if you're fatter than I am, I really, really don't believe you're starving, and I think you're lying.